Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Pinstriped Prospects Podcast as we recap Game 2 of the American League Divisional Series. The New York Yankees take a frustrating 7-5 loss to the Tampa Bay Rays. They battled back, only to be foiled by their early opening plan, which we will get into in depth on this show. And let's just say, I don't like it. I'm Ricky Keeler, be joined by James O'Connell shortly. Just want to remind you, you can follow us on Twitter at Pinstripe Pros. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Instagram. Just go to at Pinstripe Pros on Instagram. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, wherever you get your podcasts. Chances are Pinstripe Prospects Podcast is there. Tell us what you like. Tell us what you don't like. Feel free to send me an email as well. rickjkeeler at gmail.com. So much to get into on the show. And we'll tell you about the Dugout Membership Program a little bit later on. Please be joined tonight by James O'Connell. James, how are you?
Confused, frustrated. That was a wild situation that the Yankees put themselves in, not even they were put in. We'll get into it, but definitely very, very confused.
You know what? We're going to start there because I think the bulk of this podcast is going to be that discussion. So Deivi Garcia gets the ball tonight. I think every Yankee fan is excited for that, a chance for the guy who's going to be the youngest starter in Yankee postseason history to get an opportunity to pitch. He gives him a home run to Randy Arozarena in the first inning, and that's fine. Look, Arozarena has been beating up the Yankees the whole series so far. You can live with that. You get the home run from Stanton in the second. We'll talk about his great night, the only guy who did really great in the Yankees offense today. And then they decide, let's go with J Happ. Now, for those who've listened to all season, I like J Happ. I think he actually did okay this season. But you know that J Happ, an extended rest, has been garbage this year. And to put him in that situation, honestly, Deivi Garcia, if he can't go more than one inning, should not be on the playoff roster. You should be given an opportunity to pitch. This guy supposedly has no nerves. Nothing phases this kid. Why can't he go at least? All I'm asking for is one time through the batting order. That's it. If he can't go one time through the batting order, this is not an Aaron Boone problem. This is a front office problem. This is why they can't develop starting pitching. And if you try to outraise the Rays, James, you will lose this series.
The thing that boggles my mind is that Aaron Boone was trying to outsmart like everyone. Like he thought he was pulling really a rabbit out of his hat by
But is this an Aaron Boone decision? I don't think this is strictly an Aaron Boone decision.
It's actually not fair to put it on Aaron Boone. I'll address this as the Yankees. The Yankees thought they were outsmarting everyone. The Yankees thought that, hey, let's start Deivi Garcia and the Rays will put in all their left-handed bats. And you know who we're going to go to? J Happ. That's the big rabbit out of the hat. J Happ. Like this guy's going to go out there and mow them down because the Rays thought that Deivi Garcia was going to be the starter. He was going to be in there for a while. That was the big plan. Like the Yankees are going to pull a fast one on the Rays with J Happ. It's beyond belief that this, you know what's funny? I was listening to the Michael K show today a little bit, and on the way there, on the way to where I was going, Michael K actually said this may happen. He had a hunch this was going to happen. That Garcia was going to start, the Rays get all the left-handed bats in, and then they put in J Happ. Meanwhile, what's hilarious about the whole thing is that the right-handed bats crushed J Happ on the Rays. Margot and Arozarena both hit home runs off J Happ. So you put in J Happ to get left-handers in the lineup. Well, guess what? The right-handers just absolutely dominated you. It's a mind-boggling decision. Why not just have J Happ start the game? Have him be the starter. Because you know what? Who's going to be a Game 4 starter now? You're going to go to Jordan Montgomery? Is that where? Because this series at a minimum is now going 4 games. So is Jordan Montgomery your Game 4 starter? There's a ripple effect of from this decision, and there's a whole list of issues that can now pop up for the Yankees trying to get too cute, trying to outsmart this Rays team. I can't believe that this is where they went. Why not have Garcia at least, like, could Deivi Garcia have done any worse than J Happ? He gave up a run in every single inning he pitched. Could he have done any worse? If Deivi Garcia stays in that game, do they win that game? I think there's a better chance they win that game than to go to J Happ. To obviously say that now, 1-1 quarterback. I know, I get it. But how could he have done any worse? I don't think it's possible. That was a failed plan put together by whoever put it together. Boone, the front office, I'm sure Boone had something to do with it. I would hope he has something to do with it. But my God, what a mismanaged baseball game, thinking Jay Happ was going to be this wild card and come in and shock everyone and shut him down with his 87-mile-an-hour fastballs up in the zone. Please, give me a break with that. Absolute garbage.
And Mike Zunino hits a home run in the second inning off Happ, the 2-run homer. Margot, like you mentioned, James hits a 2-run homer off in the third. Rays take a 5-1 lead at that point. And I'll put it this way. If you take Deivi Garcia, if you take Jay Happ's line tonight, 2 2/3, 4 runs, 5 hits, 3 walks, 2 Ks, 69 pitches, 42 strikes, and then if you'd make that Garcia's line, you live with that. Because you just say, look, kid with his first start in the postseason in a tough spot, you're not going to rip on Deivi Garcia.
Right.
So at the same time, I think you have to rip Happ in this case, and I'm glad I'm not happy to rip Happ, and I understand that to be fair to him as well, is Jay Happ's not exactly used to being a guy coming in after an opener either.
That's exactly where I was about to go. The Yankees then put 2 guys in uncomfortable situations. Deivi Garcia in his first career postseason start, he's going to throw an inning. And then Jay Happ is going to come out of the bullpen and be this bridge guy for the opener. Those are 2 things those guys have never done before. So now you're putting 2 guys in spots that are completely unfamiliar, and it's completely not unnatural for either of them. Deivi Garcia has never experienced anything like that, and neither has Jay Happ. So why not just at least let Deivi Garcia start the game or just go through the game like he knows how to do, or have Jay Happ go through his regular routine, warm up, why not? Why did we choose to go this way? Why was this the best option for the Yankees? I'm not sure what the computer said, what the people said. I cannot possibly imagine that this was the best possible game plan. It boggles my mind.
So why not flip the plan? Let's flip it around. Jay Happ start the game. Deivi Garcia then come in short relief out of the bullpen.
Right.
That might have been the better thing because then Garcia isn't thinking as much, has the adrenaline, can now take a couple extra miles an hour onto the fastball, and then Deivi could be the one that goes 3-4 innings and kind of tandem that way, and Happ is at least used to getting into the routine and coming out of the pen. I get they don't want the Rays to maybe start off with the lead, but I'd rather the experienced starter actually be the one that gets the start. The Rays have people trained to be openers. The Yankees don't unless their name is Chad Green.
I don't know. I don't. Obviously, this is backfired, and it could have a ripple effect for the rest of the series. It could be a series-altering decision. I hate to be dramatic, but really, now your Game 4 starter is Jordan Montgomery. And do you trust Jordan Montgomery if you're down 2-1 to save the season? No, you don't. I don't think anyone does.
Go back to that game that was like a few weeks ago, I think early September, where the Rays basically took Jordan Montgomery out in the first inning. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's where you're basically looking at Game 3 as a must-win, which we'll get into, of course, a little bit later on. Let's talk about, we've done a lot of negative things early. Let's talk about, I think, one of the real positive. Yankees struggled against Tyler Glass now. 5 innings, 4 runs, 3 hits, 10 strikeouts, 3 walks. Yankees, by the way, set the MLB record for the most strikeouts in a 9-inning game with 18 in a playoff game. But Giancarlo Stanton, I think, deserves no blame tonight. 2 for 4, 2 home runs, 4 RBIs, a 458-foot moonshot in the top of the fourth to get the Yankees back into the game and make the game look a lot closer than that score indicates. 7-5, the Rays were in complete control basically for the bulk of the night. But Stanton, as we talked about both in the Cleveland series and I think going in is why I made him my X factor. The guy loves Petco. He's locked in. He's seeing every pitch. Even when he's making outs, he's making hard line drive outs. This guy's locked in for this series, and I think that, as a Yankee fan, has to make you encouraged that maybe this is his A-Rod postseason from 2009. Now it's just time to get the help around him.
I'm going to get into Stanton in a second, but we have to talk about this. Aaron Boone just said the plan was not to remove Deivi Garcia after 1 inning. It was an opener/piggyback situation. But he also made the quick decision based on what he saw from Deivi Garcia. Based on what he saw from Deivi Garcia. What did you see? He gave up a home run to the guy that's been crushing everyone you've been throwing out there. What was there to see? I'm not sure. What exactly did he see that the rest of us didn't see? If this was, I would have rather him say, hey, we got beat because we thought we were pulling a fast one. Not that wasn't the plan. Based on what I saw of Garcia, wanted to take him out. He gave up a home run. It happened to Rosarena, who's been on fire. Is this real? This wasn't the plan. You need to tell me this wasn't organized for Deivi Garcia to just pitch one inning. And I would have rather Aaron Boone just admitted, hey, we got beat. That's it. We tried to pull a fast one, got beat. No, it's not. Apparently this wasn't the plan.
Wasn't that? But I will say, though, in Boone's defense with that comment, I don't know what he exactly saw, but keep in mind it took Deivi Garcia nearly 30 pitches to finish that first inning.
Was it 30? It
was 27.
Okay. Well, I guess. But, I don't know. I just can't believe that wasn't the plan. I don't know. But I'll get into John Carlos Stanton. I'll get into everything else. So John Carlos Stanton, I mean, what else can you ask for really there? The guy's been, again, not the reminiscent, but just reminding of the 2009 A-Rod postseason. Everyone's been talking about it. The guy's on fire. He's locked in. He's putting together good at-bat after good at-bat, with the exception of one. John, the guy's on fire, and he could carry this team. And I brought it up last night. If the Yankees are going to continue to pinch hit Tyler Wade for Luke Voigt, then put John Carlos Stanton in the 4-hole. Because if in a late game situation, you have Tyler Wade up before John Carlos Stanton, the guy who's absolutely red hot. So I would like to see a switch there, move Stanton up to the 4-hole. Aaron Hicks and John Carlos Stanton really carried this team for the most part today. I believe at one point the rest of the team was 0 for 10 with 8 strikeouts. And them two, at one point, I'm not sure what it was, but they were carrying the team. And you know what? All power to those two guys. They were some of the most doubted players on the whole team, and they both came through for them tonight, so shout out to them.
I will say, though, in that you talk about the Tyler Wade thing, I know you and Alexis talked about this last night. We kind of see what the formula is for that, is that Boone's going to put Wade in to pinch run, and then when Wade's spot comes up in the lineup, he's probably going to pinch hit Tauchman and then either put Ford at first base or I think you'll never see Tyler Wade actually bat in that situation.
Last night.
You saw he hit last night? Okay.
Yeah, Tyler Wade hit last night. He drew a walk, all power to him. But I don't like that. Your hottest hitter and your best hitter right now is batting 5th, and he's in a late game situation. Tyler Wade is going to have the bat in his hands instead of John Carlos Stanton. I think if that's the strategy there, you got to move Stanton up.
Yeah, and Luke Voigt does not look right at all right now. 0 for 3, 3 strikeouts, looked really bad against Diego Castillo, who's made him look awful this year. There's something wrong with Luke Voigt. That foot, I think, is a really big issue. He's playing through it. All power to him. Does not look right at all. But a lot of the Yankees did not look right tonight. Aaron Judge 0 for 5 with 3 strikeouts, including the game-ending ground out against Fairbanks. You had Gary Sanchez, which we can get into, and I hate pinpointing this. This is not a Gary Sanchez night where all the blame is on him. I hate when Yankee fans do that, because a lot of people deserve blame tonight. When you strike out 18 as a team, you're not the only one. But 0 for 4 with 3 Ks. He got overpowered by Fairbanks with first and second and 1 out. Frazier, I thought, had a bad at bat in that 9th inning, albeit a 3-1 count. Chased ball 4 though up in the zone, and I get it. I've had the debate on Twitter with people. I did tweet, if it's close, you swing. That's the outside pitch, not the high pitch. You make Buckner call that high pitch a strike, and then someone get thrown out. You don't chase that high strike from Fairbanks when he can't find the plate. But back to Sanchez, who's now 3 for 28 against the Rays this year. I'm sorry, James, if Game 3 is a must-win, and I know maybe Sanchez works well with Tanaka, I don't really know if I can have Gary Sanchez start this game when he is so bad against one team the way Tampa seems to own him right now.
I was going to make this point. I planned to make this point on the podcast. Kyle Higashioka has to start. I don't give a damn about Gary Sanchez's confidence. I mean, how confident he's looking at the plate right now. How confident he looked the last 2 seasons, even 3 seasons. What are we waiting for with this? What exactly are we waiting for? Higashioka is seeing beach balls at the plate right now. I'm not sure what. I know Higashioka is not this household name, and Gary Sanchez may strike fear, but Gary Sanchez is batting 9th. He's not doing anything. He's letting balls go past him again. There was one where I guess Happ almost hit a batter and went right back to the wall. What are we doing? I'm not. What are we holding on to anymore? Gary Sanchez is a lost cause, at least right now, unless he makes some drastic change in the offseason he hasn't done the last 3 off seasons. He's a lost cause. He is. Just chalk it up. You got to find a catcher eventually. So you can't keep riding with this guy. He's not hitting. Higashioka is hitting. And this just brings you back to 2012, Raul Ibanez and Alex Rodriguez. Well, Gary Sanchez is by no means an Alex Rodriguez. And at no point will he ever be. So why was it so easy? Well, I guess that was also Joe Girardi's decision, but this organization once sat Alex Rodriguez for Raul Ibanez. They can sit Gary Sanchez for Kyle Higashioka. I don't see that being a problem, and it has to be the solution tomorrow night.
Now, let's get to, before we talk about Ottavino, Loaizaga, and we'll get into the big elephant in the room, I want to remind you that you can go to pinstripeprospects.com, subscribe to our Dugout membership program where you get player interviews, features, scouting reports, and much more in addition to our free Major League postseason coverage, and that's exclusive to our paid subscribers with that Dugout membership program. Sign up today for either $5.50 a month or $40 per year, and you get the promo, if you use the promo code #WelcomeBackBaseball, again, use the hashtag #WelcomeBackBaseball, you get your first 30 days free. So if you're not sure, check us out. Give us a free 30 days. I think you will enjoy it. So go to pinstripeprospects.com and subscribe to the Dugout membership program. So let me get into the big elephant in the room. That's CB Buckner's strike zone. Now, the strike zone was bad. It's awful. The 3-1 pitch to Torres, and I'm glad that check swing was called a ball, because I would argue that even if Torres swung, you cannot call him out on that, or somebody would have been thrown out of that game. But when CB Buckner is calling the same outside pitch a strike, albeit maybe it's a bad pitch, you still have to swing. There's a difference between the outside pitch and the high pitch that Frazier chased for ball, that would have been ball 4 that he chased for strike 3. That pitch you take and make Buckner call it. The outside pitch, you have to swing. And I get it. The Yankees are one of the teams, they love to be loud in that dugout, and they love to get on the umpire. But at some point, when you constantly strike out in the same pitch, you have to swing. You're taught that in Little League with 2 strikes. You have to swing anything that's close. You can't keep taking the same pitch. You have to adjust. And the Yankees didn't adjust.
I get where you're coming from. I understand that, but it was all night, man. It was all night where these guys are getting the bats taken out of their hands. It's inexcusable for a Major League umpire to make those calls. This isn't Little League to that point. It's not Little League. It's You have to be better than that. This clown behind the plate, that was absolutely disgraceful. It was all night. It was literally only the Yankees were getting hosed all night. And granted, they did not look good at the swings they were taking that were in the zone. So I'm not going to make the excuse saying, hey, the umpire lost in this game. That's nonsense. But be better. Is it really that much to ask for a Major League umpire to call a game like how we expect one to call one? There was pitches missed off the plate that were called strikes all night, up and away. The pitch of Gleyber Torres was absurd. I couldn't believe some of the pitches that were being called strikes. I couldn't. And you know what? The Yankees were getting squeezed at one point too. I don't know. It was absolutely disgusting.
Don't get me wrong. A lot of the blame is on CB Buckner. Mm-hmm. But I would argue for all the Yankees that want to blame CB Buckner for this game, like you mentioned, you've got to change your approach at the plate at some point. And I think that was frustrating, especially when you look at the Yankees against the Rays bullpen. Now, they did get to Fairbanks in the 9th, largely because Fairbanks was wild and all over the place. I mean, LeMahieu got the single to make it 7-5. They did not look good against Castillo, who threw 6 straight strikes coming out of the pen, in Voit and Stanton. And I'm sorry, Nick Anderson is going to be a factor, and it's, in my opinion, the reason why the Rays will win this series. 2 innings pitched, 4 strikeouts, 19 of 22 pitches for strikes, James. And you look at the numbers the Yankees have against Nick Anderson this year. I know he's only gone back-to-back 3 times this year, but 2 of them are against the Yankees. And Anderson is against the Yankees against Nick Anderson this year are 0 for 15 with 9 strikeouts. If I'm Kevin Cash, I'm pitching Nick Anderson every day until the Yankees actually learn how to hit him.
I agree. I don't necessarily think the Yankees are going to lose the series. I think did we make predictions for the series?
I know Alexis and I did. I never got yours. I picked Rays in 4 on the show. The segment Alexis and I did a couple weeks ago.
Yeah,
a couple days ago. Sorry.
I had the Yankees in 4, but I don't know. We'll see. I think tomorrow is becoming a must-win game. Obviously, it's a must-win game. You can't go into Game 4 with Jordan Montgomery not do or die. I see them winning the series in 4. I still do. I did not expect them to win this game tonight under any circumstance, but they had a chance, and that's what's all that more frustrating. So I didn't feel like they were supposed to win tonight. I kind of almost knew they were going to lose this game tonight. Just pitching matchup just wasn't great and just terrible managerial decisions. But I don't know. We'll see. Nick Anderson's a problem. He's been a problem to everyone all year with a .55 ERA. It's going to be tough, but the Yankees can't get behind. That's what comes down to. You can't put yourself in a position where you're chasing a run or two and Nick Anderson's on the mound. No, you have to be up 2 or 3 runs like you have been. You have to continue to swing the bats. If the Yankees can stay away from those situations where Nick Anderson's coming in and they're chasing, they'll be fine. And tonight was a debacle. That was just an all around debacle. Tomorrow, there's a set starter, Masahiro Tanaka. He has a long leash, at least 6 innings. I'm expecting playoff Tanaka start. And Charlie Morton's very hittable. Although the Yankees haven't done too great against him, he's very hittable compared to what they saw tonight. And they did fairly well against Tyler Glasnow tonight. So we'll see what happens. I still have faith that this group will come together tomorrow. I think this is a hungry team. And it's too intense of a rivalry for this team to just give up on it. I don't see it happening. I think the Yankees win tomorrow, and I think they win Game 4.
Now, before we break down Game 3 in depth, I have a couple of questions to actually ask about that game in particular tomorrow night. I think it's 7 o'clock Eastern on TBS. Yankees got through this game without using any of the big 3, Chad Green, Zach Britton, or Aroldis Chapman. So that's a win in itself. You should have them now for all three games if needed. Did Adam Ottavino get closer to the circle of trust than Jonathan Loaisiga did? Because Ottavino had some decent moments. He did walk one to which led to the run. But Loaisiga's looked hittable in both games he's been in. And I also want to give credit to Jonathan Holder and Nick Nelson for those last 2 innings, combining for no hits and 3 strikeouts. We beat up on Holder a lot, so he deserves it. Nick Nelson, way to show up with 2 strikeouts and throw a 99 out of the bullpen. I will say the back of the Yankee bullpen tonight did a decent job. But I think you have to say, I don't know if we can put Jonathan Loaisiga in high leverage. And you have the TBS broadcast saying in the inning before Loaisiga gives up the home run that he probably won't face Meadows, and yet he still ends up facing Meadows. I'm confused.
The Yankees at that point were just scrambling for innings. Even though it was a 1-run ball game, they were scrambling for innings. And you know what? They didn't go to that big 3, like you said. But my biggest fear here is that now everyone all of a sudden thinks Jonathan Holder is a factor. This guy is one of the worst pitchers I've ever seen in my entire life. Every time he goes out there in key spots, he gives up run after run after run. I don't want to see him anywhere near the mound in situations that mean anything. Tonight was a perfect situation for Jonathan Holder. Nick Nelson looked real sharp with that fastball. So we'll see. Loaisiga, not great. I'm a Loaisiga stan. I said it from the beginning, but not great from Jonathan Loaisiga. You can't like what you saw there. Of course, the fastball is electric, but it's not. How electric is it really when it's right down the heart of the plate? We saw that tonight. Ottavino, to that question, I don't think he's really any closer to that circle of trust, so to speak. But I guess you almost have no choice but to now throw him in situations where if Tanaka tomorrow can't go more than 4, can't go more than 5. I think Ottavino is the next guy up. Or do you trust Ottavino more or Luis Cessa if you're Aaron Boone? I don't know.
That's a tough one. Cessa was good.
Cessa was good. So we'll see. The Yankees stayed away from Cessa again tonight. They stayed away from Cessa, Green, like you said, Britton, Chapman. So they're in a good spot to win tomorrow night's game. You would think they're going to be favorites tomorrow night's game. I expected them to be dogs in this game. They were underdogs and they lost, so rightfully so. Just pure pitching matchup. So this is what the Yankees wanted to do. This is what they want to do. They set themselves up. They tried to steal a game against Glasnow with Deivi Garcia and Happ and the combination too. They didn't steal the game. And I think to that point, they kind of expected to not steal that game. So now you don't go toe-to-toe Glasnow with Tanaka. You have Tanaka against Morton. And that's a situation that favors you. So we'll see. Historically, Tanaka's pitched well against Tampa. I believe that's what the numbers say. So I'm excited. I think this is a matchup that really does favor the Yankees tomorrow. And Tanaka, there's no one else on the mound or in baseball you want on the mound tomorrow with your team, with their season essentially on the line. So I'm looking forward to playoff Tanaka tomorrow.
To your point on Tanaka, I think the key, again, we talk about every time in Tanaka start, you've got to get the low strike call. If he doesn't get it, it's in for a rough night. The Rays only did hit .218 off Tanaka this season, but he's allowed 3 home runs, 1 to Kiermaier, 1 to Brandon Lau, 1 to Austin Meadows. For the strikeout to walk ratio is 14-1 So that actually is a very good ratio. And then you look at Charlie Morton, who's only pitched 4 innings this year against the Yankees. One start he got hurt in, I believe, in the first inning, and then he came back his first start, I think, a month later, and only went 2 innings as well. So I found this stat interesting on Morton. By the way, he's only thrown the highest pitch count of 94. So if you can work the count against Morton and make the Rays have to get 12 to 15 more outs again out of their bullpen, that might help you. But here's the stat I found that was interesting. Brett Gardner against Charlie Morton is 8 for 22 with 3 home runs and 6 RBIs. Brett Gardner hasn't started in each of the first 2 games. So, James, I'll ask you this question. Clint Frazier's actually has done a pretty good job in the 2 games he's played and actually made that good catch in left field on the ball hit by Sasugo. So I'll ask you this question. Game 3, left fielder, Clint Frazier or Brett Gardner?
Brett Gardner. That's whatever the computer says, that's what they're going to do. That's where we're at with this organization. And can you blame him? I don't know. I don't think you can because Clint Frazier did not look good tonight. He was, 0 for 3 with 3 Ks, 0 for 4 with 4 Ks. I'm not sure. But
he had the base hit in I think it was the 7th inning. So he worked a good at bat against Castillo. That was his one shining moment.
But it's going to be Brett Gardner. It is. The Yankees always do that. The guy with experience over that, they'll do it. And by the way, I don't know if that was really a great catch as much as it was the scariest catch. That was a play that should have been probably made a little bit easier. My heart dropped when that thing went in the air when he was flailing all over. So we'll see.
But to his credit, and Lindsey Adler, I think from The Athletic pointed this out on Twitter, last year's Clint Frazier does not make that play.
No, he doesn't. But true. But Brett Gardner makes that look routine, obviously. Mm-hmm. So they're going to go with Gardner. Like you said, what is he, 8 for 12, 8 for 22 off of Charlie Morton. They're going to go with the experience. They're comfortable with him in left field. You're going to see tomorrow, I think you're going to see 8 Brett Gardner, 9 Kyle Higashioka. I think Sanchez and Clint Frazier both find their way to the bench.
Very quickly, looking around the league, first day that we had 4 games in action. Of course, 1 going on in progress still that's been 3 hours long, and they're only in the 6th inning. Padres-Dodgers, that's a different topic for another day. Braves beat the Marlins 9-5 in game 1 of their series. But I think the one we want to focus on, James, is that Astros A series. Houston wins again 5-2. They're up 2-0, and I thought the Astros, I said on my show, Kicking with Keeler, were going to win this series. Framber Valdez was fantastic. 7 innings, 2 runs, 5 hits, struck out 4, walked 1. 2 more home runs for George Springer, who just lives for the playoffs. So does Correa, who dominated game 1. Despite 2 home runs by the A's and that ball is flying out of Dodger Stadium, the A's don't have the pitching. The Astros, I think, are in rare form. And I think this is also impressive, and I know none of us want to give the Astros credit. I'm the same way. But for Dusty Baker to get the most out of pitching staff with Zach Greinke banged up, he's not pitching game 3 tomorrow. So for Houston to be up in this series speaks to the way Baker has used his bullpen, which has been very good. I don't think the Astros can hold them a best of 7, but for right now, their offense, I don't want to face at all because they seem to be on a mission right now.
I want every bit of it. See, if the universe can gift us just one thing, let it be the Yankees going to the ALCS and getting to knock off the Astros. That's only right. I think that's the only correct way for that to happen. Give me all of it. I've been saying it from the beginning. My dad has been saying, I don't want to see Houston. I'm scared of Houston. He's trying to get me scared of Houston. I'm not scared of Houston. This is, you can't lose sight of them being the first under 500 baseball team in Major League history to make the postseason. They don't have it this year. So this is the year that I want Houston. I want the Yankees really need to come through in this series against Tampa so they can be the team to knock them off.
I'm not scared of their pitching. I mean, best of 7 they can't hold up.
No,
in my opinion, their offense it just seems those guys turn on the lights now that this actual second season has started. That's, I think, the one thing you worry about. When Bregman's hitting homers, Correa's hitting homers, Springer has practically been the best playoff center fielder in like the last 15 years practically. He's on fire. That's what worries you.
Sure. But I'll tell you, I want it. I want to see it. I think everyone wants to see it. That if the universe can allow one thing, let it be that. I want to see Yankees, Astros, ALCS. But the Yankees still got to deal with the Rays.
So, of course, we'll be back tomorrow night. After Game 3, we'll record. Hopefully Alexis will be back. And for the first time this series, all 3 of us will be here. And that'll be, I think, a really fun night. We'll dive into Tanaka Morton. We'll look at the Game 4, which will probably be opener versus Jordan Montgomery opener? Because Deivi Garcia said in his Zoom press conference that he should be available tomorrow or Wednesday or Thursday. So maybe you get a Montgomery Garcia duo in Game 4.
Fun.
That would be interesting.
More fun.
So be sure again to follow us on Twitter at Pinstriped Pros, like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram. Please subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, wherever you get your podcast. Please give us a rating. We hope it's 5 stars. But please tell us what you like, don't like. Email me, rickjkeeler@gmail.com. We're usually tweeting throughout the game, both our account and our separate accounts. James, how can they follow you on Twitter?
You can follow at O'Connell NY on Twitter.
And you can follow me at Rickinator555. Be sure to catch my show, Kingdom with Keeler, every weekend on Full Press Radio. I'm usually tweeting throughout the game, putting up some fun stats throughout as I kind of sort through batter versus pitcher things every game. And I actually got to watch tonight, so I was actually impressed by it. So from all of us here at Pinstriped Pros, I'm Ricky Keeler saying have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you back here after Game 3. Until then, enjoy the day, Yankees fans.
Later.